Hello, Cycle 35. We are going to go over how to do GIT today, how to push, how to pull, and how to change things on the master repository. So this is very important because this is how your teams are going to be able to change and code together. Instead of emailing each other stuff, you can just grab stuff from the repository. So I've set up a repository in my GitHub called Practice. I'm going to take my HTTPS code here. I'm going to copy it to clipboard. I'm going to go here into my Cloud9. I'm actually going to delete this one called Practice. What we're going to do is I'm going to create a brand new workspace. Call it Practice, and I'm going to show you how to get this done. All right. So this is assuming you've never pulled from your team's repo at all. So you're starting your team. Some people have uploaded some stuff to the repository, but you're just getting started and you don't want to code from scratch. So instead, you're going to pull some of their code so that way you have the complete project. So when you start a new project, the only thing you should have is this README file here. So the first thing you have to do is initialize Git by typing git space init. You don't have a local repository yet, so you should get something that says initialized empty git repository. What we're going to do is we're going to git clone, and we're going to paste in what we copied from our GitHub. And that is actually going to pull whatever files that are on the project from GitHub to our terminal. So over here you can see I have a new folder called Practice, and inside Practice is an HTML file called index. I'm going to open that. Now this was on the repository. This wasn't held locally on my computer. It was actually pulled from the repository. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to preview it. You can see what it says and all that stuff here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add something else to it. I'm going to say I love Chicago, and I'm going to save it, and then preview it, and now you can see I've changed the file, right? So I've coded in another paragraph called I love Chicago. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to type ls. What ls does is it shows us where we're at. So I'm in the workspace, and the only two paths available to me are to either open the README or go into the practice folder. So I'm going to use cd, which is called change directory, and then I'm going to type in practice. And what that does is it takes us from the practice workspace, and it takes us into this little folder here that's holding on to index. So when I hit enter, you can see it went from workspace to workspace practice. So when I'm in workspace practice, I'm going to hit ls again, and you can see that the only thing I have access to is index, right? So I open the practice, I have index, ls lists that for me. So what I'm going to do is run a git status, and that's going to say, hey, you've modified your index.html down here. In order, no changes added to the commit, use git add or git commit a, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the index file to be committed. So index.html, and this prepares it, it preps it. So when I go to git status, it's going to say, okay, well, cool. This is ready to be, this is staged, if you will. It's ready to be committed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to type in git commit -m. What -m does is allows me to put in single quotes a message. And in the message, I'd say I've added a paragraph. And what that does is that pretty much alerts my teammates who are looking at the repository that this commit, I have added a paragraph to the source file. Okay. Not sure what is going on. Okay, so a bug has happened. I'm going to close out my terminal, reopen my terminal, and I am going to get status. It says readme and practice. I'm going to go right back. We're going to do this again. We're going to go cd practice. Bring me to the master. I'm going to get add index.html. Get status. Okay, it's been modified. Git commit -m space. I've added a paragraph. Okay, cool. So no bug this time. It actually added the paragraph, or it added the commit. So now I'm going to push it, right? So you type in git push, and you send it right back where you got it from. And when you do that, it's going to ask you for your username and your password. Go ahead and enter those. Once you enter those, it says, oh, okay, cool. So now we just pushed everything. And when I go back to get status, it says, okay, well, there's nothing to commit because I've already, your branch is ahead of the origin master by one commit. So then I can actually go back into GitHub and refresh GitHub, and it will say, okay, well, the latest commit is a minute ago. And it says I've added a paragraph, which is the message that was left. What I can actually do is click on the index.html, and I can see the raw code, right? And I can click like history, and then in the history you can look and you say, okay, the commit number is here, right? And if I look at the previous commit, there is no I love Chicago down here, right? So you can actually track, and you can actually see who's doing what and what they actually did. And that's why it's important to understand how Git works. If you have any questions, go ahead, send me an email, and or talk to me on Monday. Alright guys, have a good one.